Hello and welcome to day 23 of my Advent of Code series for 2020. If you've missed any of the previous episodes, you want to catch up on those, you can check out the playlist linked right up here. So today we're going to dive into day 23 called Crab Cups. So here what is going on is that Crab that destroyed us at cards yesterday challenges us to another game where they're going to lay 9 cups around in a circle. They're going to give us labels for each of those cups in a clockwise manner, and then they're going to execute 100 moves, and we need to determine what our cups are going to look like at the end of those moves. So the way that the moves work is they pick up the 3 cups that are immediately clockwise of our current cup. They select a destination cup by subtracting 1 from the label of our current cup, and they continuously subtract 1 until they find one that's not in the set that we removed, and it loops around back to the maximum number if we hit something that's under the minimum number. And then they place in the cups that they removed immediately clockwise of our destination cup, and then they select a new current cup, which is going to be the one that was immediately clockwise of our old current cup. So it runs through an example here, and then what we have to do at the end is we need to find what cups are in what order, going clockwise from the cup labeled 1. So I highly recommend you go ahead and give this a try by yourself. This one's very doable, and then we will jump into my code right now. So what I'm doing here is just following the rules. So the way that I've structured this is so that the current cup is always going to be at the first element in our cups list. And what we're going to want to do is we go ahead and just loop through 100 times. And what we're doing here is saying that we start with our removed slice, which is going to be cup sub 1 through 4, and then our destination here, which is going to be the label of cups minus 1, and then we just modularize that there. So if it's 0, then we switch it to 9, and if it's in our list of removed cups, then we go ahead and subtract 1 again until we get something that is not in our removed list. We just keep looping through like that. So then we actually find what our cups look like without the removed cups. We find where our destination is in that. Then we add in our removed cups between our destination and the thing that comes after our destination. And then we go ahead and just cycle this list by moving our old current cup to the end of the list to essentially just get our list with our new current cup at the front. Then at the end there, we go ahead and we're going to just join the string representation of first the cups, everything that comes after the cup with index 1, and then everything that comes before the cup with index 1 to just get our full list. And then we join that, and that is going to be the orientation of our cups, and we can jump into part 2. So in part 2, it turns out there's been a mistranslation when we're speaking with the Crab, and there are actually 1 million cups, and he wants us to do 10 million turns, and then find the product of the 2 labels that are to the immediate clockwise direction of the cup labeled 1. So this one, you're just going to have to tweak what you did in part 1 a little bit, and you should be able to get to an answer. I highly recommend you go ahead and give this a shot, and then we'll jump into my code right now. So what we're going to do for this one is I decided to structure it as a linked list. So I create a node class here where each node has a value and a next, where next is just going to be whatever's next in the linked list. And then we have a little lookup thing right here, which is just going to be a dictionary mapping our indexes to the node objects that represent the cups that have those labels. So then what we're going ahead and doing here is first I am looping through the list cups, which is our input there. And what I'm doing is I'm creating a node for every label in cups, and what I'm doing here is I'm looping through the list backwards so that I can assign the labels correctly and say each thing gets the next of whatever is next from it in the list. So I go ahead and do that. The one thing is at the end of doing all of this, the next value for our last cup in our cups array, so the value that we touched first here is not going to be correct, but we rectify that at the end. Then we deal with the 1 million cups, the rest of the 1 million cups, by doing the same thing, except for just doing it with the labels of the straight up number from 1 million to 9 going backwards. We do that same thing, and then we just need to deal with one last thing, which is adding in for our last value in cups. The next of that has to be the node that represents the number 10, just because that's how it's supposed to be structured. And then once we do that, we have our linked list fully set up. So then we just go ahead and set our current cup to start with the first element of our cups array, the node that represents that, and then we go ahead and loop through 10 million times, essentially doing the same thing as we did in the last one, but slightly different because we're in a linked list now. So instead of list slicing, we go ahead and just actually get the first 3 elements and assign them into remove 1, remove 2, and remove 3. Then I go ahead and cut those out of our initial list by setting the next value of cur to be whatever came after remove 3. Then I go ahead and we find our target value here by just looping through like this, just as we did before, until we get a value that's not in our removed list here. So then once we do that, we go ahead and find the location of our target by finding it in the lookup list. And then we, from that, the thing that we actually need is the thing that comes after target. So then what we go ahead and do is we add in our remove elements between the target and the thing that comes after it. So if you see how this is structured here, remove 1 is still going to have a next of remove 2. Remove 2 is still going to have a next of remove 3. So then what we need to do is we just need to essentially add the bookends here, setting the next of the target location to be the remove 1, and then the next of remove 3 to be the thing that comes after target, and that is fully inserting it into our list. So then what we can do is just set current to the thing that comes after current, and we are fully good to go to run through that loop 10 million times. So then what we do is at the end of that loop, once it's done executing, we find where the cup labeled 1 is, and then we grab the 2 things that come after it, and we go ahead and multiply those together, and that is our answer. So I hope you enjoyed today's video. I hope it helped you understand this problem if you were struggling with it. If it did, be sure to leave a like, leave a comment with any changes or optimizations you might spot in my code, and just, yeah, let me know what I should be doing once Advent of Code is over. If you guys want me to continue making videos on this sort of algorithmic competitive programming type thing, then be sure to let me know. Otherwise, I will be moving on to other series and other types of content, and I hope you stick around for those as well. So that's going to be it for me today. I hope you enjoyed, and goodbye.